Hi and welcome. This time around we're going to be taking a look at some tools that I've been using for a number of years and a new one that's I think is hoping to compete with them from Vivore here. These are laser distance measuring devices and I use these at work all the time. We run lots of cables and I use these to estimate cable run length. Very handy. This is a Fluke, this guy here, and it's good for about 200 feet and it's very simple to use. You just click and go. That's 1 foot 7 inches. This one's accurate to within 1/8 of an inch or so. And this one has been great. The only problem is when you're going any distance at all outside, it's really hard to find the red laser dot because although it's bright on camera here, actually it's not even very bright on camera. Outdoors, it's hard to find. So that becomes a problem. But this is a great device and I've used it a ton, especially in the equipment room. This guy here is a new and improved model, this Bosch here. And this guy has the advantage of having a camera, as you can see here, that lets you find the laser dot. And so when you're going to make a measurement, it helps you find it on the screen, especially outside and at distance. So the camera is a really nice feature on this one. And I haven't had a chance to use this one a ton at work because I got it a very short while ago. But the times I've used it, it's worked really well, and it definitely performs better than the Fluke does outside. Last but not least, we have the new unit from Vivore, and I'm curious to see how it compares because the Fluke was $100 and something. The Bosch was $210 or so. I bought a refurb. I think I got it for like 150 as a refurb, something like that. I forget now. This guy sells for 127 bucks from Vivore, claims to be good for 120 meters. So let's see how nice a job they did. All right, so the unit's a good size. It's fairly light. Looks like it uses 3 AAA batteries, has a tripod mount if you wanted to put it on a tripod. I could see that very useful on a construction site. Looks like it also is going to have a camera, although I'm not certain that's the case, but we'll see. Let's get into this a little more. So in the box, we've got a manual, a case, 3 batteries. I just love the fact that even with their low prices, Vivore still manages to give you batteries with their products. Charging cable. Oh, these are nickel metal hydride. That's an additional plus. So these batteries are rechargeable. So it comes with rechargeable batteries, a built-in charger, and it looks like a micro USB cable. Not too bad it's not USB-C, which all phones have switched to. I'm guessing they designed this a while ago, but you can use any of your leftover phone chargers to charge this guy up, I am pretty certain. And it comes with a reflective plaque. Oh, that is a huge plus. So this, I'm assuming, is so that you can reflect the laser light and find it more easily at distance, which is a huge problem outside. So I'm very excited about that. The battery door is spring-loaded, easy to replace the batteries. You could use standard alkaline if your nickel metal hydride are dead. You could also buy more nickel metal hydride. I use a ton of nickel metal hydride because I hate having single-use batteries. Plus, nickel metal hydride typically don't leak as easily as alkaline do. So these nickel metal hydride look like they are completely dead. So we're going to charge this guy up. Here's the charging port on the side. And we'll be back and give this guy a run for its money, see how much we like it. That's a little tough to get that port open if that's what that is. Or do we slide it? No, that's tough. Yeah, it just was really tight. Huh. Oh, interesting. It does snap in place though. Yeah, so I can't get my fingernail in there. And I really don't have fingernails, but I need a screwdriver to get to the charging plug. So that's not ideal. So a lot of these guys for the hand strap, which I always put on these things, this is an enclosed plastic space, but in this case it is not. So it's going to take tweezers to get a hold of it because it can fit between an opening on either side here. That's not ideal either. But once you get it in, I guess it's a one-off operation. So I guess it's not terrible, but it's just one of those little details that it'd be nice if they had included. Changing the units is pretty straightforward. All you do is hit the menu button, navigate to the setting you want to change, hit menu again, it turns green, and then I can put it in feet, in inches, feet, inches, and fractions of an inch, which no one likes fractions. Inches, meters. Meters with 3 digits of precision. We'll go with feet, because that's mostly what I will use. All right. Hit clear to get back out of the menu. Very bright laser light. I think possibly brighter than the other ones, although it doesn't seem like it's as tight a dot. So the LED seems brighter, but bigger. The dot size is bigger, so it's not collimated as well, I'm guessing. So let's see, let's compare it to the Fluke right next to itself. So right now it's measuring from the back of the device. So this, like the other units, has a little flip out tab that lets you space yourself away from something. You can set it to the measure from the back, from the front. Here's where you're measuring from. There's measuring from the front. This guy is currently measuring from the back. You know, we'll switch this to be the same. And they are measuring almost identical, 1.54, 1.55 feet. And looking at the dots, they aren't a whole lot different from one another. I thought they were. All right, let's do a little bit longer distance. So measuring longer distances, I came out with 14.99 feet on the Vivore and 14.98 on the Flukes. That's a really good sign that it's reasonably accurate, because I know the Fluke is, I've compared it before, and it's pretty darn accurate. Now this guy has a feature that the bigger Bosch has for $200 and something. Take a look at this. So my brother-in-law is colorblind, and he can't see red, so the red lasers are hard for him to find. So if you turn on this feature, it has a camera that helps you find the red laser dot at a distance, which is really handy, especially when you're outside, because it selects for this color. So it does a really good job at finding it. Interesting, I got an erroneous reading the first time. You can tell they're both sitting right next to each other, and I got 5 feet. Now it's very close, 1.82, 1.88. 1.55, 1.71 for the Fluke, 1.65, 1. So when you've got the camera on, it's a little bit more problematic, or perhaps it won't work at this kind of close-up distance. So I'm going to try something farther away. I'll be right back. So I was too close. When you're farther away, we got 2/100ths of a foot difference, and this, I notice when we're close like this, the parallax between the lens that the laser sees the return of the laser and the camera are not right on top of each other. I had the same with the Bosch. So up close, it doesn't line up right. At a distance, the laser dot's dead center in this little cross here, which means you don't need to see the laser dot. You just put that cross where you want to measure the distance, and as you can see, very, very close. So this, like the Bosch and even the Fluke, do a bunch of other calculations for you. I never seem to care about those. They're not really useful for me. You can also record changes. Bottom line is, for the price, this is a pretty darn good unit. I gotta say, very impressive quality, and it's a lot smaller than the Bosch. Now the Bosch does go 400 feet, and this only goes 200. Oh, actually this goes 400 feet too. What am I saying? So the same distance, and the Bosch is much bigger. I would bet that the Bosch would be a little bit more accurate, but this is over twice as much money too. So you'll notice on the Bosch, even with the Bosch, there's parallax between the laser and the camera. Now, one thing the Bosch does do, it finds the laser in the picture, so even when there's parallax problems, it still can work. And it's much smoother interface, but it's also twice the cost. So you're definitely paying for it. And the fact that you don't need to see the red dot anymore at distance is a huge plus. If you're interested, it can do all kinds of calculations, like it can do the height of an object when you know the distance from the object. It does all kinds of calculations based on that. If you're in a construction environment, these might matter for you. For me, I'm just trying to estimate cable length, so that's not usually a useful feature for me. It can calculate volume and area, but I don't think that's particularly handy, and since I'm okay with trigonometry, if I needed any of those things, I could calculate it from distance I measure. But I guess it's nice to know it's built in here, and if you're not so comfortable with trig, that it can do it for you with a little bit of work. So that's pretty handy. And the manual, like the other VEVOR manuals, is pretty darn readable. And it looks like you can download an app, LDM Studio, and transfer data from this device and use it inside your computer as well. So that's pretty handy. The Bosch is Bluetooth enabled. This guy is USB enabled, but that's a minor difference. I guess if you want to use the Bosch app on your phone, which I find incredibly clunky to use, then that'll work for you. I do not like the Bosch app, so in any case, there you go. I really like the rechargeable batteries. I think that's a great feature, but you're not dedicated, so if the batteries go dead, you can just get some regular AAAs, put it in there. They thought of pretty much everything. They sort of copied the other units that are existing today, which I think is just fine. They have all the similar features for about half the price. So there are a couple things that annoyed me, like threading this through because it's open on both sides, so the little string tends to go into the unit, but that's minor. You can get a pair of tweezers and pull that through. I don't like the button feel, but that's a real minor quip. They're sort of sticky because they're silicone, but they're high quality. I don't know if the silk screens will wear off if you use this a lot. We'll find that out too. The accuracy seems to be right up there with the Fluke and the Bosch. So bottom line is, for about half the price, you get a really nice unit, good for 400 feet of distance, 120 meters. Has a camera built in that helps you find it in bright situations, or just find it at all. When you're going over 100 feet, it's really hard to see the laser dot on the other side. I usually have to work with another person. Comes with a reflective card. All these things are pretty nice additions to a product, and it looks like the card fits inside the case with it, with a belt loop. Well, sort of does. This is a sort of a quickly designed case. Not the world's greatest case, but I guess it'll work. It's stretchy on the sides. You could put the card in here, but then you got to be careful when you pull this out that you don't lose the card, although it did tend to stay, so maybe not so much. Bottom line is, for the money, I think it's an excellent price. You should check it out if you're in the market. If you've got extra money, you can buy a Fluke or you can buy the Bosch. Thanks for watching. Hope you find it useful. Hope to see you next time.